Elizabeth from stampscrapandmore.com. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator located in Canada. Thank you for joining me today for another video tutorial. We will be making a version of this card. I hope you join me. Let's get started. This is a card that I had made for an event, an online event a couple of weekends ago. I'm going to recreate it using the same pattern pack for the designer series paper, but different patterns. And I'm going to give you some measurements and some directions. We're going to start off with Evening Evergreen. I've got my scoreboard here. And we are going to score this. This is 11 by 4 1/4, and it is scored at 5 1/2, like that. Next piece is Soft Succulent, and it is scored at, it's 10 3/8 by 4, and it is scored at 2 1/2 and 5. Realized I had the wrong end down. 2 1/2 by 5. You're going to need the scalloped contours, scallop contour dies, and it is the middle one, this one that you're going to be using, and you need a piece of that die cut out in basic white. I'm going to put that aside. You need a piece of basic white that is 5 1/4 by 4. That's for the inside of the card. You're going to need a piece of designer series paper. I'm using the, what's it called? Lights Aglow designer series paper. It's a beauty. And you need a piece that's 5 by 3 3/4. You also need a piece that is 1 inch by 5 1/4, but this is going to be cut off like a remnant from when you cut the rest of it out. And then you also need a piece that is that piece that is 2 1/4 by 3 3/4. So this is actually going to be like that. And then there's this small little piece here that you're not going to use. So if you're strategic in how you cut the paper out, you can get all of this on one piece of 6 by 6. Piece of scrap white. I'm going to use that piece of scrap white to stamp the tree on. And let's get started. You are going to get your bone folder and you are going to fold the Evening Evergreen in half on the score line. This is the piece of Soft Succulent. It's going to get adhered to the front of the card like that. You're going to fold that up towards the top like that. And then this is going to get folded back on itself like that. And you've got the two cards. This is going to get adhered to the front of the card like that. And it's going to leave, you're going to leave even space on all 4 sides. So let's just do that now. And I'm just going to lay that down like that. On the inside here, we're going to put this piece, make sure it's the right, if there's an orientation, the right side up. And so this is sort of trees. And we're going to adhere that to the front. Inside panel, I should say, from the top down. Like that. And then on this side, we are going, this is the back of this, we are going to adhere that like that. Where the one side of this paper is directional, the other side is not. It's just sort of like that. So there's the card. Now let's do some stamping. I'm going to adhere this to the inside of the card like that. And I am going to trim off the edge. Here like that. And I'm going to trim off this edge. On the color that we're going to be using is, the base color is Evening Evergreen. And I'm going to stamp the sentiment that says, "May your season be merry and bright," on the inside here. Like that. While I have the Evening Evergreen out, I'm also on a scrap piece of white. I'm going to stamp Peace and Joy. Like that. I can put this color back. In this trimming the tree, there are also 3 ornaments. I'm going to use those as well. And I've got them here. And I'm going to use Daffodil Delight, Real Red, and Pacific Point. I'm only using those colors because they were bright and I picked them up quickly. And I'm going to stamp this ornaments. Make sure that they're in the right, they're not upside down. Oh, that's this way. And I'm going to stamp one there like that. Oh, I didn't do a very good job stamping that one. Let me try and do this one more time. Like that. Ooh, doggy. I missed the top of it, so I just lightly tipped the top of it to fix that. We're going to stamp one of the ornaments in Pacific Point. And I'm going to put that one down there. And then the last ornament, I'm going to stamp it in Daffodil Delight. You can also do this on the outside of your card so everything coordinates. And I'm just going to put that there like that. All right. And you know me, I just like to make sure that I try to use up as many of the stamps, make use of them as I can. And I'm going to put that to the side. Now we're going to get to the tree. So in the tree, there are 2 stamps. There's the large one, and there is sort of like the filler tree. If you purchased the Perfect Pairs, I think it was called, from back in September, Stampin' Up! Did release a die that coordinated with this stamp set. It's no longer available. I did buy it, but I want to share with you how you can create this card without having the die. So, oh, I don't need that. I need my Evening Evergreen. So I'm going to take the main stamp, and I want sort of a 2-tone effect. So I'm going to ink this up, stamp off. Oh no, I didn't ink up the very bottom very well. There we go. Stamp off, and now I'm going to stamp it on the cardstock. So that's the main color I've stamped off once. Now I'm going to take the filler. This is the filler. I'm going to ink it up. And because this is photopolymer, you can easily line these up. And I want this full strength so that this gives it sort of a 2-tone. I'm going to line up some of the branches in the empty spots on the tree. And now we have a 2-tone card, a 2-tone tree, like that. And I am going to fussy cut this. And like I said, if you have the die, fill your boots and you can die cut it out and do the layering. But I'm just going to move the paper around and fussy cut the tree out, not making it very perfect. No, every tree in nature is perfect. I was going to say no tree is perfect, but every tree in nature is perfect. So if you're wondering, while I'm fussy cutting this out, where I've been for the last week and a bit, a couple of weekends ago, I had great intentions because I have craft fair to get ready for. I'm sitting in my craft room on a Saturday, and my neighbor, one of my neighbors, comes to me, and we're attached, and says, my neighbor's daughter, and says, "Elizabeth, my mom thinks I'm crazy, but do you hear something in the attic?" And honestly, I haven't heard anything in the attic. And she said, okay, my mom thinks I'm crazy. It's my imagination. So we left it at that. Got to tell you, I was a little bummed because I thought, oh, okay, she's hearing something. What is that, right? But I had not heard anything at this point. I was on a Saturday. On the Tuesday, I'm getting ready for work, and it's 7 o'clock, 7:15, and I have my radio going. I'm in the bathroom, and I'm drying my hair. I've got the blow dryer going, and I could hear a noise. Turned everything off, and I heard it growl. It was a raccoon. So needless to say, I threw on my clothes. My hair was still wet, and I got in the car, and I called not animal control because they won't do anything. I called wildlife control. And of course, it was before 8 o'clock, so I left a message and I went to work, and everyone at work thinks I'm crazy. And about 10 o'clock, they called me back. They called me back about 8 and said, okay, well, we're really busy. We'll come out tomorrow. And I said, no, you don't understand. I can't deal with this. So she said, if we have a cancellation, we will come out earlier. So they called me about 10:30. And Jason from Gates Wildlife, thank you so much. He came out to my rescue. And the raccoon had tore a hole in my neighbor's soffit and made its way over to my attic. So as I'm going to continue telling the story as I go along. So now I'm going to take the scallop contour die. So I'm going to take the tree trunk or the base of the tree, and I'm going to use my soft suede, and I'm going to stamp it on the bottom. So where did I leave off? So he came out, and I said he tore a hole in my neighbor's soffit, and the bloody thing ended up in my attic. They told me, like, my house is warm, it's quiet, and it's perfect. So I found a YouTube channel of 12 hours of dogs barking. So what they had to do was they had to put a one-way door on the hole, and they put a tripwire so that they could tell when it left. But to encourage it along, I had for like 4 days, a YouTube channel playing in the bedroom and the main floor, in my craft room here, which is on the second floor, and in the bedroom on my laptop. And I left work playing with the dogs barking. So I think it left my attic quite quickly because of the noise, because I never heard it anymore. Well, I heard it actually one more day, but my neighbors continued to hear it. So he actually came, we think it left last weekend, because he came out on Tuesday and the wire had been tripped. And of course they can't trap it, right? They can't trap it and take it way up north somewhere. They have to let it loose in the area in which it lives, because it has dens. Give me a break. Raccoons have rights, right? And so they think it left like last weekend. Well, we think it left last weekend, but he came on Tuesday and the wire had been tripped. But I said, leave the wire, leave it up, rebait it, and leave it up for another couple of days. So he came back on Thursday and closed everything up and sealed it. And then they seal up the area with heavy duty wire mesh and bullet and drill it into the soffit so they can't break it in again. So that's where I've been, because I was sleeping on the couch. I would not come upstairs other than to shower and then just like leave quickly, because this is not my thing. Wildlife is not my thing. Okay, so I've done that. I've told you my story. So that's where I've been for the last week and a half. So I have stamped in soft suede the bucket, or the base, and now I'm going to pop this up with dimensionals. And I'm going to use up dimensionals that I have from an old paper pumpkin kit. Because you like to use up all of your dimensionals. And I'm going to put one at the top here so that it's not saggy, no saggy bottoms. And dimensional along there, and along there, and I'll put one along there. And I'm going to pop this up on top like that. So stick around because I'm also going to show you some tips on using the Pearlized Enamel Effects, which I just started using them. Oh, and I love them. Okay, so that's popped up. We need the Simply Elegant trim, and I'm going to use the gold because there's gold in them there paper. And I'm going to say gold in them there hills. Gold in the paper. And I'm going to make a little bow knot. This was a project, I don't know if I told you, project I did a couple weekends ago for the Global Inspiration Stamp team. And there was a lot, I was just going to upload the video directly, but there was a lot of chatter and questions, and I just thought I would just clean it up and redo the video. Then I did it, and then there was no sound. Modern technology, right? And I'm going to need a glue dot to adhere this on to the bottom like this. I'm getting ready for a really big craft sale. I've got still so much work to do on it. Might be taking a couple days off work. I haven't asked yet, but I need it. Okay, there we go. And now I'm going to adhere this to the card. And I'm going to put 2 dimensionals, or actually a couple of dimensionals, on the bottom. I'm opening up a new pack here because I want it clean. I'm going to put a dimensional there and there, and I'm going to put a dimensional here. But I'm also going to put a couple of dimensionals here, 1 and 2. So that way I'm going to catch it there as well. And yeah, I've sort of put it towards the side a little bit. Oh, did I put too much dimensionals? Yeah, this one here is just a little too high. Just going to snip it off. Snip it off and then rub it off. There we go. Okay. Now, I know I did the Peace and Joy. It was right here. There we go. Peace and Joy. And I'm just going to put it on the side like that. I am going to trim it down so that it's not quite as high. If you've got long scissors, it's easier to do it in one fell swoop, but I'm going to make it work. So I'm going to put it, I think, like there. So I'm going to put a dimensional right here on the end, and then I'm going to put a couple of drops of Tombow glue on this side. Oh, come on, Tombow glue. And I just used it, so I know that it was primed. This is, in case, this is what I like to do. This is old dimensional. I'm going to squeeze it out in there so that it doesn't blob onto my project. And then I'm going to put some here like that. And Peace and Joy. Like that. Oh, I love this card. And on the inside, I'm going to adhere this to the inside like that. And oh, I overshot the runway with that adhesive there, so I'll show you how to fix that. So I put too much adhesive on this edge here. I'm just going to roll it over onto itself. I wasn't very careful when I did that. You see it's on the outside of the card. I'm just going to roll it over back onto itself. There we go. And yep. I'm going to adhere this to the inside like that. All right, so now we've got the card done, and now I want to add in some Pearlized Enamel Effects in the white and the red. And I'm going to start with, I just use these, but just make sure there's no air bubbles. And I'm going to put some Pearlized Effects. I want them a little bit bigger than the original card. And there's the red. Oops. And now I'm going to do the white. And now you have to let this sit to dry. More dry time the better. So I'm going to let this sit overnight. And I'm going to bring this up to share with you, but stick around because I'm going to show you another couple more tricks with the Pearlized Enamel Effects. So there's the tree with the Pearlized Effects on it. There's a little bump when you squeeze it out, but it flattens down. Obviously, the bigger the bulb, the better. The bigger the blob, the bigger it's going to be. But I'm going to share with you a couple of tricks. So I've used, here's a couple that I've done that are not quite dry yet. So let me get out my baby wipe here and just wipe those off. I'm using my silicone sheet, and you'll see I have, let me zoom in a little bit. Okay, you'll see I have some red, I have some white, and I have some black because these also come in, it also comes in black. And I did these actually a couple of weeks ago, and they're very, very dry. Here it is also in white and in red, and they're dry. So if you wanted to use these, you could pick them up, put a glue dot underneath, and adhere them to your project. Or we all have extra sheets of glue dots, right? This is a little bit trickier, a little bit more fiddlier. But what you do is you are going to gently peel back the top of the glue dot adhesive. This is the tricky part. I find that if you kind of curl it on itself, no, see, that one came off in total. Let me see if I can get one. Some of them come off totally, and some of them, that's another total one. Here we go. This one came off. So this one came off. The glue dot is still there. So now what I'm going to do is I am going to add the red on top of there, let it dry, and now you've got some ready-made glue dots. And I've done these earlier. So here is one that's in red. So here's a card I had done previously, and all of these glue dots are dry, but I've picked up this one, and I just want to do a scatter. I'm going to put one there just to show you. And then I've picked up a white one, put it there, and you know I'm going to pick up another red one and sort of put it there. Not that I would send the card with the glue dots on there, but you can see how with the adhesive on the back of it, they are ready to go. You just have to let them dry. So you can put them on your silicone mat and let them dry, and then use a little bit of adhesive, or you can be fiddly and pull back the adhesive on the glue dots. When they're dry, adhere them to your project. Let me zoom back out again. There we go. And that is the card. So that's the final card, and that's the inside of the card. So what do you think? I hope you like that card. Here it is one more time in the gold with the tree. This one, I will admit, is probably my favorite, but I used up all of the designer series paper on this project, making these cards. So, but this paper pack, the Lights Aglow, is a beauty. Thanks for stopping by, and we will talk to you again soon. Happy stamping. Bye.